What's going on, everybody? So here we are, finally made it to the weekend, got all the way through the week, and I'm extremely happy for that. It's been rainy out here in California. It's been cold and windy. So being able to stay indoors for a couple of days and just kind of bunker down and take the opportunity to catch up on some videos, catch up on a few things, I am certainly excited for. Now, one of the things that a lot of channels have been doing is they've been doing their like top 50 cards in their collection. And I've always tried to shy away from doing what other people are doing. And it's not because I don't think that it's cool or that it's good. It's just, well, other people are doing it. They're doing it fine. So why would I need to do what they're already doing? So I try to do stuff that's a little bit different than what some of the other channels are doing. But I had more people ask me, Greg, would you do a top 50 cards in your collection video? Then I probably got more requests for that than anything. So I decided, all right, it would be kind of fun to just take all my cards, lay them out, and then try to come up with the order. Now, that's where it gets complicated. You know, a lot of people go based off of the last sale on eBay or whatever VCP says, but I don't value my cards that way. I value cards I differently than some. And I don't know if there's a right or a wrong way, but the way I value them is, you know, just because it has a 2 on the top of the slab doesn't mean it should sell for what regular 2s sell for. I try to buy cards that I think are nice for that grade, which makes them a good deal. You know, if you buy a card that I'm like, it kind of looks like a 4 to me, but it's in a 2 and I can get it somewhere around 2 prices, then I think I got a good deal. That's kind of my strategy. And at the same time, some of the cards that I buy, other people might go, I don't like the looks of that card or whatever, and that's cool. So when I was going through this process and I had those cards laid out and I start ordering them, and I'm kind of looking at some recent sales a little bit. I'm also keeping in mind what I paid for them. I decided, you know, there are times that others, if you were sitting there with VCP comping all these cards, you'd go, these don't look right. But to me, this is how they should be valued, in my personal opinion. Now, it was interesting because, you know, I don't have this mind-blowing collection. I've got a lot of cards that are valued between $100 and $1,000. And then I have about 10 cards maybe that are worth over $1,000. And so kind of figuring out where, you know, numbers like 50 through 35, like where's the cutoff? Because, you know, I had some cool cards I wanted to show. I wanted to show my 52 Bowman Mini Minoso rookie. I wanted to show my 51 Bowman Monty Irvin rookie. Like there were some cards, but it's like, they were just misses. So maybe I'll do a just missed video or something and show some of those other cool cards that I have that didn't make the top 50 list. So what you're not going to see here is you're not going to see any crazy cards. You're not going to see any multi-$1,000 cards. I'm just regular guy, regular collection, but you're going to see a lot of cards that are worth somewhere between, you know, $300 to $500, a few below, a few above. And it was fun. It was more fun than I thought it would be, so I'll probably continue to do it. Now, before I do that, I did want to do a quick thank you. You know, this YouTube channel has connected me with lots and lots of people. People that message me on Instagram or email or through comments, and you just kind of get to know these people. And all of you, that's the beauty of this whole community, is that I feel like a lot of you I've never met. I've never sat in the same room as a lot of you, but a lot of you matter and you're important to me. And I think about you guys. And the more I learn about some of you, the more I think about you, and people are on my mind, even though I've never, even in many cases, spoken on the phone. But one person that I recently connected with, his name is Daniel, and great guy. We had a a nice conversation. We've talked a little bit. We've messaged a little bit. And he sent me some really cool stuff. And included in what he sent me is he wrote some books. And he sent me a copy of these 3 books that he wrote. And they're called Dane Traveler. And he also has a channel. And the thing I love about his channel, and I'm subscribed to his channel is called Classy Sports Cards. And the thing I love about his channel is that he does it with his son. His son is like the tech guy, the producer, and they're showing off his Daniel's collection. And it's just really cool that they do this thing together. They have this bond. And I'll put a link to their channel in the description below. You guys should check them out. Really amazing eye appeal collection. He is an absolute eye appeal collector. Has some beautiful cards, but their episodes are fun. Anyway, sending me these books, the inscriptions, and he signed them and inscribed them inside. Said some really nice things. Very nice care package. Appreciate it very much, my friend. And so with that, let's take a look at my top 50 cards as it stands here in December of 2024.
All right, so my 50th best card. How about a 51 Burke Ross Ben Hogan in a PSA 5 grade? Really well-centered card. This is, many would consider Ben Hogan's rookie card. There's one other card some people might argue is, but this is one of his best cards. He doesn't have a ton of cards, and you can see him there with all those trophies. I just think it has great eye appeal on the card, just the centering and everything. So that is the first one. Now on each one, I'll give you a closer look where I'll scroll over the card and you can get a good look at it before going to the next. So now, number 49. How about this 1961 Topps Jim Brown in a PSA assigned 5.5. This card is so tough to find well-centered. While this one's not perfectly centered, it's pretty good. You can see the back. And on the front, a lot of marks show up in that blue. So the blue is not always that solid. We get a closer look at it here. You'll see a couple little marks on the blue, but usually there are tons and tons of fisheyes on those. So that is a pretty cool one. Number 48, I got my Joe Kelly T206. This was an eBay purchase. So far, everything's been an eBay purchase. I'll try to share where they came from. This is a PSA 3 Joe Kelly. He is a Hall of Famer. In my T206s, I'm always looking for centering. Now, this one's a sovereign back, which isn't super rare, but it's rarer than the Sweet Cap or the Piedmont. And I just think this one has great eye appeal. So I'm thrilled to pick up the Joe Kelly as part of my T206 Hall of Fame run. I have some other T206s that aren't Hall of Famers as well. Next, I've got my Cracker Jack of Armando Marsans. This is like the sharpest Cracker Jack. I mean, and it's not a high grade, it's just a PSA 2. It's got a little wrinkle at the bottom. You can see it's a 1915 because the back is flipped. There's a little crease along the bottom. But man, I think that is a gorgeously stunning card. An important Cuban player that my buddy Orlando talks about quite a bit. Look how clean that card is. I am thrilled to own that one. Next, at 46, I've got Vic Willis, another T206 Hall of Famer. You'll see several T206 cards in here. A lot of my collection is made up of those. And this is an SGC 2.5. Again, the centering is the key for me on those. Pretty rare to get them well centered, so I usually just try to be patient, wait my time. And here's a closer look at that Vic Willis, an outstanding player in the early 1900s. Now, this card was a gift from my guy, Mike Petty. He came up to a card show last summer, and he gave me this 64 stand-up Willie Mays. It's a really sharp one, and it's just got a little staining on the back. It's an SGC2, and I'm super pumped to have that. That was a very generous gift from Mr. Petty. These cards have gone up in value quite a bit. Well, the big names have, like the Mantles and the Mazes and stuff. So here is my 1950 Bowman Sammy Baugh in an SGC5. I bought this at the Strongsville show in 2024. It is, to me, the most beautiful vintage football card ever. And while this one's not perfectly centered, it is so crystal clear on the registration. I had two I was looking at, and the other one was a little better centering, but the registration on this one is like, you can literally see the wrinkles around his eyes, which on most you can't. It's a gorgeous example of that one. Number 43, another T206 Hall of Famer. This is a Fred Clark. And this is a PSA 3.5. He's got another card as well. This is his portrait. The portraits are my favorites in the T206. Some people love them, some people don't. I love them. And so again, centering is the focus for me, and then the deep color for the background is important as well. Speaking of another T206 Hall of Famer, this is Jake Beckley. This is kind of a famous card because he's got kind of an interesting look on the picture. He looks a little bit like Dracula on there. And this is a PSA 2. Again, centering is important for me. And on this card, a lot of the times around Halloween, though, people will show these cards on social media and stuff because of his look. I think it's a stunning card, and I'm thrilled to have that one. Now, I got another gift at number 41. This is a 52 Topps Worn Spawn. This was given to me by my good friend Darren of Return to Collecting. This is one of my favorite Warren Spahn cards. You're going to see a few Warren Spahn cards today. I have a few of his cards. And this image to me is just gorgeous. The deep red on the background is fantastic. The registration and color on this card is off the charts. And I'm super thrilled to have it. Get a closer look at it here. It's in a PSA 4 from the famous 52 Topps set. So that brings us to number 40. And I've got a Jimmy Collins, another Hall of Famer in the T206 set. This is an SGC 3. Now, a lot of these cards I've shown before. A few of them I haven't, but so far I've shown a lot of these. And again, you can see my emphasis on centering and the color in the background. And I've gotten to where, I don't know, maybe I have about 25 or so of the T206s. And you'll see about 12 or 15 of them here today. Already seen several. Now we've got the first golf card sighting. This is a 33 Sport Kings. And this is a Gene Sarazen. The Sports King set features a lot of different sports, and golf is included. There are 3 golfers in the set. It's Walter Hagen, Gene Sarazen, and Bobby Jones. This is an SGC 3, and I think it's a beautiful 3. Really well centered, really great coloring. Corners are pretty darn good for a 3. Again, this is from 1933. Gowdy made these. And then we have Chief Bender. This is a portrait of his from the T206 set. This is an SGC2. Again, I try really hard to find ones with high eye appeal for the grade, and for a 2, I think this is fantastic. It's got a sweet cap back. Chief Bender is one of only a couple of Native Americans in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And I love the green background on this card. Again, to me, there's nothing better than a T206 portrait. And at 37, I've got my 1956 Ted Williams. This card received a 3.5 from PSA, which I think is harsh. I think the color on it is great. The centering is great. The corners are great. but they saw something I didn't see, and that's just fine because that made it affordable. Being just a 3.5 made the price one that I could participate in. Here you can see it. I love rough cuts on old cards. Shows they weren't messed with. You can see the color on that one. Now at number 36, this is a 1957 Hank Aaron in an SGC 4.5. This was another gift, the third gift of the show. This was a gift from my good friend Tony, Southern Collector. He was on the channel recently. I helped him out bidding on an auction, and he was like, "I want to send you something as a thank you." And then he sent me a couple things in the mail, and this was included. Very generous gift. He's a very generous man, and I'm thrilled to have this card. You can see the picture's a little blurry on the left there. Sorry about that, but it is a gorgeous copy there. Now, the first modern card coming in at number 35, a Yankee captain, Derek Jeter, the 93 SP Jeter in a PSA 8. This card has come down in price since I bought it. We're probably in the mid to upper 300s in prices right now. You can find kind of an uglier one of that card for in the 320, 330 range. A nicer one is going to be mid to high threes. And I think this one's super sweet. At number 34, another modern card, the 81 Topps Joe Montana rookie card. And this card received a PSA 8. No idea how, because I think it is absolutely gorgeous. It is razor sharp. It is well centered. It is unbelievable color. And it's an 8, which made it affordable for me. You can see it right here. I'm not sure what I'm missing. I'm missing something, but that's fantastic. Number 33, bet you weren't expecting to see a Garbage Pail Kid. Now, when I think of Garbage Pail Kids, I think of my childhood. Take from that what you will. That is a 1985. This is a first series Garbage Pail Kid, and it is sort of like the Garbage Pail Kid, the Atom Bomb card. Now, it's not the number 1 card, but it is the card that was featured on all of the boxes and is symbolic. This is a PSA 7 example, and I just needed that card for nostalgia purposes. Number 32 is a 1966 Philadelphia Gale Sayers in a PSA 5. No idea how this is just a 5. It is a really beautiful card. I picked this up maybe 3 years ago. This was an eBay purchase. And it's pretty darn sharp for a 5. It's got a little bit of a rough cut, like that Ted Williams, which I actually like. And we'll take a closer look at it here. I don't know how that's a 5, but it is, which is perfect because it made it affordable. All right, next up, how about another T206? This is Elmer Flick. He won a batting title, batted over 400. Again, the centering is the key for me. This one got a PSA 3. It's an older slab, but I think that the 3 is probably fair, maybe a little generous. If sent in today, this might be a 2.5 or so, but doesn't matter because it's not going anywhere. I'm happy to have this one. This is like his only card, actually, in the T206 set. Some of these guys have 2 or 3 or even 4 cards. Elmer Flick has 1. And again, nice clean card there. All right, number 30. We're at the top 30 now. How about my Warren Spahn rookie card, the 1948 Bowman? Again, centering, you'll see, is the theme I try to go with. This one, a PSA 3. And a clean back on this. I really like the 48 Bowman set. I know some people are hot and cold with it. And this is a card I wanted for quite a while. And here is a closer look at it. Corners aren't sharp, but they're symmetrical. Pretty well centered, nice clean image of Mr. Warren Spahn. How about a Bobby Wallace? This is another T206 Hall of Famer. Really well centered. This is a PSA 3.5. It's got one of those, I don't know, PWCC stickers or whatever on it. I just think this is a beautiful 3.5. And this was an eBay purchase as well. And picked that one up probably about a year ago. And here's a closer look at it. Centering and the color and the registration is great, which is not always the case. How about number 28? My Bobby Jones rookie card. Now, this card received a 2, which is, again, makes it affordable. Well centered on the front and the back. Bobby Jones, one of the best, one of the most famous golfers of all time, obviously. He's one of the key guys to collect in vintage golf cards. And you'll get a better look at this PSA 2 here. I picked this up on Golden. Golden has auctions, and then they have a marketplace, and I bought it on the marketplace. Number 26, another T206. This is Hugh Duffy. Hugh Duffy also batted over 400. This is an SGC3. I had this in a PSA holder, and I sent it to SGC to review, and it got bumped up to a 3. I think it's very sharp. There's a little bit of staining on the back, which is the reason that I don't think it gets higher. I think just looking at the front, I think the card is worthy of at least a 4, but that issue on the back is preventing it from going higher. I got another Sport King card. This is a gift from my good friend David, and this is a Seppala card. Now, Leonard Seppala and his dog. This was a gift when my best pal Mandy passed away back in January. It is a card featuring a man and his dog, and it's in an SGC4. Such a meaningful gift. And it is a beautiful card, which I treasure and have on display all the time. All right, number 25. We're halfway there. This is a T206 Rube Marquard. I bought this at the Strongsville show. It is an SGC3. It's got heavily rounded corners. I think it's a generous 3. It was in an old SGC holder, but I got it re-slabbed into a newer one because it was a little beat up. Centering is fantastic. Color registration fantastic, but the corners are definitely round. But again, that doesn't bother me on a card that is over 100 years old. When you have a card that's 115 years old, it's going to have issues, and showing wear is part of the character to me. A third Sport Kings card, number 24, is my Walter Hagen Sport Kings. This is an SGC 4.5. This is a sharp card. Really well centered, really clean card. This popped up on an eBay buy it now, and I couldn't have hit buy it now faster than I did. So the only one of these that I'm missing is the Bobby Jones, which is a very expensive card. But you can see how well centered that is of Mr. Walter Hagen. Frank Chance, a Yankee captain, part of the dynamic trio of his infield back in the day. This is the yellow back Chance portrait. And this card gets a little bit pricey. Evers, Tinker, and Chance are kind of more expensive than some of the other guys in the era. But I waited a long time to find one well-centered. And when they are centered, they go for a lot, but I paid up for that one. Next, we got our first pirate card. This is Captain Morgan, the same Captain Morgan of the rum fame. This is an SGC 4.5, super nice card. Pretty darn sharp for a card from 1888. Back is pretty nice as well. And the image is fantastic. It's a card from this set in a 4.5 is a high-grade card. It's hard to comp these, so I just kind of threw this in here. That card in that condition is spectacular, and I got a killer deal on it. No pun intended. Next, how about a Raleigh Zider? He's the one who is a Yankee captain, depending on the list that you look at. This is a 1915 Cracker Jack with caramel stains on the back and all. Well centered. He is in his Federals uniform here. And that Cracker Jack set is second to none. You got the deep red, a great image, and pretty well centered. Every box was checked for me. We are now top 20. At number 20 is my Johnny Evers, speaking of, in an SGC2. This is not a cheap card. He has a couple of different cards in the set, but this is his portrait, again, my preferred. And that green is tough to get as solid as that is, to be as centered as this is. A really tough card. It does have a crease, but that's why it's a 2. And again, that's just such a cool image of an important player. How about a Carl Hubble from the 33 Gaudy set? He's got 2 cards. One is more of a portrait from about his waist up, and this is his action shot. This was a buy it now purchase on eBay. You can see a nice clean back. Carl Hubble's one of those guys where he was really, really good, but his cards are still very affordable, which is interesting. I love the 33 Gaudy set, and I was thrilled to click buy it now to pick up this card. Pretty darn well centered for a Gaudy. One of my favorite cards in my collection is this T206 Willie Keeler portrait. If that card looks familiar, you may have one in your collection with my head on top. This has one of those PWCC stickers as well. And the green background, the portrait, Willie Keeler, so much I like about it. A Yankee captain, the 3rd Yankee captain. And I just absolutely love the card. Another Yankee, but not a captain, at number 17 is my T206 Home Run Baker in an SGC3. I picked this one up maybe 3 or 4 months ago, 2 months ago. Been waiting for the right one of those to show up. Again, for me, the key is patience. Wait. And then when it comes up, don't miss out on it. And that's what I did with this Home Run Baker. I think it is a fantastic 3. Again, these T206s don't come centered this easily. At number 16, how about an Otto Graham rookie card from the 1950 Bowman set? This is kind of one of the grail football cards for me. Otto Graham, one of the best quarterbacks ever, tons of championships, and this being his rookie card. Got a well-centered one in a PSA 3, and you can get a better glimpse at it here. Again, has some issues on the corners, but I couldn't care less. I love that card. A 1951 Bowman Ted Williams in an SGC 4.5. Now, this card is super clean. The corners are great. Centering is pretty darn good. Ted Williams is one of my favorite players of all time. If you were to make a list of vintage players, now there's some wax on the back. Keep in mind cards from the 51 Bowman set. Some of them came in packs of 1. So, yes, there is wax on quite a few of them. And here's the look on that card. I got this again as a buy it now and was thrilled to get it. Now, the Grail Pirate card is the Blackbeard. And this PSA 2 I purchased over the summer off of Facebook. Kind of a long story. I heard about a guy who might have one and it might be for sale. I tracked him down, I asked him, and I ended up making the purchase. The front of this card is incredible. It is an incredible eye appeal front. The back has a little bit of paste from an album, which is the reason it's not higher. Number 13, my 1955 Jackie Robinson, my favorite Jackie Robinson card. This card is in a PSA 4 holder. Centering is great. Image, color, great. I love this card. Got this right at the start of 2024, I believe. was like January off of eBay. And we'll get a better look at it here. My first Jackie Robinson card, and the one I wanted to get first because it's my favorite of his cards. Now another Strongsville purchase, at number 12, the 49 Leaf Warren Spawn in an SGC 3. I had my friend Darren right there on my shoulder as I was negotiating this deal, and I had the camera rolling. You can go back and watch the day 2 video of my Strongsville visit and see how it all went down if you want. I just think it has great color. The centering is fantastic. And this, to me, is the Warren Spawn card. Now, I know he has some bread cards and stuff that are rarer, but I love that card. Another Strongsville. Look at that. 2 Strongsville cards back to back. Number 11, the 33 Gowdy Rogers Hornsby. He's got 2 cards in this set. One, he's kind of standing in the dugout looking out on the field, and then one is this fielding card. And this is my favorite Rogers Hornsby card. I just think it's a fantastic card. And it was one of the goals when I headed off to Strongsville last year. I was with my friend David and Darren. We looked this card over together and purchased it actually in that Marquard deal. That Marquard card from earlier was in this deal. I packaged those 2 together. One of the best hitters of all time and a guy who is still pretty affordable for whatever reason. All right, top 10. I got my 58 Topps Jim Brown. To me, kind of the football card. And I know there are some from earlier pre-war ones that are bigger and better, but when I think of vintage football Grail cards as a kid, this was the card. I didn't think I'd own one, to be honest with you. And I'm over the moon to have it. And these are so hard to find centered. And they have tons and tons of snowing. This one's pretty well centered, but it does have the snowing. And I love it. And I am so excited it's in my collection. And here you can see, again, to find one centered like this, maybe 60-40, it's tough. One of the hard, it's like the Ozzie Smith 79 Topps. All right, number 9. I got my Brooks Robinson rookie card, the 57 Topps in a PSA 5. I got this card in a trade. Long story short, you'd have to watch the video, but I bought a Pop 1 Tharps Ice Cream, Roger Peckinpah, and the person who was building that set saw my video, reached out to me, and we ended up making a deal for the 57 Topps Brooks Robinson rookie card, one of my childhood favorite cards. Now, this is the new card. This is the new card that you've not yet seen, so it's making its debut here at number 8. This is a T206 Mordecai Brown portrait with a Piedmont back. I bought this card the day after Thanksgiving. I think it was it the day. I think it was the day after Thanksgiving or the day after that. I don't remember which. I love the T206 Mordecai Brown card. And I waited and waited and waited and looked at the National for this. And I looked at Strongsville for this. And I've been looking on eBay for this. But I just decided to wait until the right one showed up. And this is the right one. I always talk about how much I pay. I paid right around $800 for this, like $803 or something. My bid was like $806. So I literally bid like $3 over what I ended up getting it for. Pumped to add that one. Recently, in a golden auction, I got this Casey Stengel rookie card. Now, the M101 4 and 5s, there are some blank backs. There's a bunch of different company backs. And I just wanted one. Casey Stengel, obviously an important person in Yankee history. And this is a Playing Days card of Casey Stengel in an SGC 2.5. Well-centered card from 1916. You can see him there. And again, that was a recent buy. Number 6, I've got my childhood basketball grail. The Bird Magic Dr. J card. I bought this one, probably 2 years ago. It's in a PSA 7. Really well-centered card, pretty darn sharp card. And as a kid, didn't think that one was affordable. It wasn't. I remember it was $350 when I was a kid, so I bought one of the other Larry Bird cards because I was a Larry Bird collector for about $40. And this was a big addition to my collection when I added it. Anytime you add a childhood Grail card to your collection, it's a big day. So that is a big one. All right, we are now top 5. How about the 1915 Cracker Jack of Big Ed Walsh? This guy had a lot of wins, was a devastating pitcher. This is a PSA 3 copy of the 1915 Cracker Jack. Again, you can tell because the back is flipped. Never really thought I'd have a Cracker Jack of a Hall of Famer, especially one this sharp. When you see the close-up of this, you'll see how sharp this card is. There's a little wrinkle around his elbow, but the sharpness on the card and the depth of the red is just incredible. That is a really, really awesome card. Number 4, the first T206 card I ever bought is the T206 Christy Mathewson in a PSA 2. He has 3 cards. He's got the dark cap, the light cap, and then a portrait. And this is the dark cap, the most common of them. And I think it's undergraded. I'm in love with this card. Again, bought this one, about a year ago, I guess. Maybe about this time last year. You can see the color on it, the centering. Number 3. That is my Yogi Berra rookie card in an SGC 5. And this was a gift from a friend of the channel. And it's perfect. I mean, it is the one that I was looking for 30 years. I mean, the centering, the color, not the color, but the registration, the clarity, the corners. I never thought I would own a Yogi Berra rookie card in a 5 that looked like that. What a stunner. Number 2, my big national pickup, the Ernie Banks rookie card in a PSA 5. Look at the color on that thing. Bought this off my buddy Ash. A bunch of my friends were right there with me. I've shown pictures of this. At the time, it was the biggest card I'd ever bought. Paid $1,600 for this, which I think is well under what it's worth, especially given its condition for the grade. But my good friend Ash gave me a remarkable deal. The centering on this card is brutal. The color is brutal. There's usually snow. The corners, everything about it I love. And then the next day at the National, I bought number 1, my T206 Walter Johnson Hands at Chest card. Look at the centering on that thing. That was a big couple of days. I dropped a lot of money in 48 hours at the National. This is my favorite Walter Johnson card, and I am proud for it to be one of the crown jewels of my collection, and don't plan on that ever going anywhere. So there you have it. My top 50 cards. Nothing earth-shattering, but a lot of really cool stuff in a collection that I'm really proud of. Thanks for watching.